Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, September 18th, 2025. I just got back from Tokyo. I guess it's been a couple of days now. I got back Tuesday evening, and I guess I haven't seen you guys since then. So I got lots to talk about, and I do have some Japanese snacks to try with you guys. So it's a little bit of a mukbang today. Not too many. I'll explain why in a minute, but we'll do that. And I got a bunch of packages to go over. So it should be a fun show today. I got some shoes. I got some, I think, nutrition, some clothes, lots of stuff to show you guys. But before we get to any of that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a good run today. It got hot, guys. It was so balmy for so long. And then it was fall weather when I left for Australia. It was still fall weather when I got back and left for Tokyo. And then when I got back, it was hot again. So I was really hoping for some cool weather because it was just so hot in Tokyo. But wherever you are, hopefully you're managing the heat okay. And then for everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to the #1 drive time radio show for runner that's neither at drive time nor on the radio. All right. Sean Delvin has a question. Best meal in Tokyo, Kofuzi? Well, I do love Ichiran. I have that all the time. That's the one where you eat in like a little cubby, and they have like a little curtain that they put down so like no one can see you eat, and you're just completely by yourself. But I went to have I had tonkatsu ramen, which is like a pork broth ramen. That was probably the best ramen that I had while I was there. I found it on accident because I was looking for a spaghetti place. Someone had recommended they put like eggs and all sorts of weird stuff on the spaghetti. And I was like, that sounds like something I want to try. But when I got there, it was closed. And so I started wandering around and I found this ramen place. And that was probably the best meal that I had while I was in Tokyo. CV76 wants to know if there's karaoke with Robbie. There was karaoke on a boat. There was like a dinner boat, but Robbie missed the boat. So there was karaoke on the boat with A6 people and running shoe retailers. It was weird. It was fun. Thomas got really into it. And then, but Robbie wasn't there cause he missed the boat. Tony Macias, what's going on, Tony? Says, catching a live stream live. It's been a minute. Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Tony. And Duke B wants to know, do I have Glycerin Max 2 yet? Are people starting to get that? I do not have it. Glycerin Max 1 came out during Berlin. So I guess it's been about a year since it's Berlin weekend this weekend, right? So, but I don't have it. Yeah. Daniel wants to know, what did you eat for breakfast? So breakfasts were hard because we did have breakfast at the hotel, and the breakfast at the hotel was really good. I had a bunch of scrambled eggs and potatoes, which were really nice. But then they had rice and curry. So what I would do is I would make a big bowl of curry rice and then put scrambled eggs on top of it. That was really good. Because another meal that I had while I was there was omurice. Like the omelet that they put on top of the rice and then the curry and the sauce, and then you put an omelet on top. I had that. That was probably the second best meal. That might have been the best meal that I had. That was really good. I feel like just having rice and curry, man, that's really underrated. I got to eat that more often. I feel like it was good. Vanessa says, hi, Ko. I listened to your interview on the Running Explained podcast. Oh, awesome. I remember we did that a while ago. And so, I forgot all about that, but that's a podcast that I do listen to, not every episode, but regularly. And so it was really fun to be on that one. I'm glad you had a chance to listen to that one. Okay. And Daniel Burton says, awesome interview with Clayton Young. Thank you very much. I do feel like I knew like as soon as I had finished the interview, I think I was talking with, so it was a last minute thing. Like the interview was at 11. At 9:30 in the morning on my last day there. I'm like all packed. I'm sitting in my hotel room all packed, about to like maybe find one more meal before I go to the airport. But I get like a call at 9, or I get a text at 9:30. It says, do you want to interview Clayton? And I was like, yes. I mean, we were trying to work it out, and we were just like, we just need to figure out what Clayton's schedule is and what he's feeling up to and stuff. So I kind of had an idea that it might happen, but like I found out like an hour and a half beforehand, and I went over there, and then afterwards I basically had to come back to the hotel where I had already checked out, and then I had to meet Megan Featherston, and I were sharing a taxi to the airport, and I remember telling Megan. Like, I think that was probably the best conversation I've had with an athlete. So that was a good one. I knew right away. I was like, I think that was good. And then I edited. I was like, this turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. So thanks, everybody, for watching. I think it's doing pretty well in terms of views. So I appreciate everyone that's watched that one. Sega Dreamcast says, how much flying whiplash have you had recently? Not exactly the shortest flights you've been on. I got to tell you what, the Tokyo flight was easy in comparison to going to Sydney. And so people were like, oh, how was the flight? At least you had a direct flight, but it's 13 hours. I was like, yeah, but it didn't seem that long. I just did 15 hours each way just to get to LA like earlier in the month. So the 13-hour flight was great. And then on the way home, it was only 11 hours only. And then basically I got on the plane. I fell asleep before the plane took off. I woke up when they were feeding us a meal. I went to bed afterwards. I woke up again when they were feeding us another meal. And then we had less than 90 minutes left. So I slept through most of the flight. It was amazing. It was great. Yeah, so this flight back wasn't too bad. And the jet lag, I'm doing decently okay. Doing pretty good, better than I usually do. And now that it's like the second day, usually it's the second day that's worse. Today was the second morning, and I slept decently. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. And I had a good run yesterday, and a pretty decent run today, so I'm feeling good. All right, Adam says, shoot question. Why pay $40 more for the Super... $65 more for the Mega instead of sticking with the Nova? Nova works well for me as a daily trainer. Yeah, so, I mean, if the Nova works well for you, I feel like that's a very versatile shoe. So I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, like, Nova's great. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Super Blast 3. But right now, it feels like the way that it's going is like, all right, think of like the Nova Blast line as its own sub-brand, right? Nova is the daily trainer. Max cushion in that family would be the Super Blast. And then like kind of your long run shoe, maybe like a Primex competitor, would be like the Mega Blast. So that's kind of how I would think of those. And so they're just they're all in the category of daily trainer, right? Just like Max cushion is in the subcategory of daily trainer, and long run shoe, like an Invincible run, or I guess Vomero Plus is in the category of long run shoe. But like, the Mega Blast, for me, was really fun to take. So I think the Mega Blast is okay at daily training. And if you're just going to use it for just easy miles, I would say probably save your money and just go with Nova Blast. But when I have some longer runs with some speedier stuff in it, that's when the Mega Blast for me is super fun. I took that around. So there's 2 days of marathons, Sunday and Monday. And so on Sunday, when I was following the women's race, I put in about 10 miles getting around the course in Mega Blast. And that was super fun when I started trying to follow along with the athletes and film the athletes at their marathon speed. That was really fun. The next day I did it in the Nova Blast 5. And then for the men, same thing, about 10 miles. And then trying to keep up with them with the Nova Blast was not great. I mean, it was fine. But like, I was like, they are a little bit faster than the women and a lot faster than me. And I'm having a hard time keeping up at Nova Blast. So that was hard. Yeah. Kurt says, I'm just confused on the difference or need for the Super Blast and Mega Blast. I don't know why you would have the Mega and the Super. I don't think most people would probably need to have the Mega and the Super. I would probably elect one or the other of those two. And it just depends on kind of like what you're looking for. The Mega Blast is a little bit more bouncy. The Super Blast is a little bit more soft to me this year because of that FF Turbo Plus is a soft material in my mind. And so that's kind of how I would pick between those two. I mean, I do have them kind of listed as like different options, but I do think that the Super Blast is also really great for long runs. I don't like the Mega Blast for like kind of like recovery run, super chill running. I feel like it's overkill for that. So, I mean, that's where I would put it. I don't think you need to have all of the blasts. And for me, the Sonic Blast is passable. I could pass on that one personally. Paul Public says, Blast follow-up question. Is it widely known that the Dynablast 5 is the Nova Blast 3 with a different upper? I'm not sure that it is. I asked ASICs about that, and they're like, that's not how we see it. I mean, maybe I'll have to go buy a pair and figure it out. But that's not that. I mean, they told me that that's not it. But I'll check it out. You're not the only person I've heard say that. Charles Roberman says, any recommendations on a shoe with a lot of volume and width? Got my feet scanned and they said I am in the 99% of both. I mean, you could go with a wide shoe size. And that's kind of like on a model by model basis. But also you could look at either Ultra or Topo as brands because they have, like they call them. One of them calls it a foot-shaped toe box. One of them calls it an anatomical toe box, I think. I forget which one is which. And I could even be getting that wrong. But they both have kind of like much more forgiving toe boxes. So that's where I would look probably first if you're in the 99th percentile on both of those. Yeah. JC says the New Balance Rebel. I do think that I don't know if the latest Rebel is in a wide yet, but I do feel like that has a lot of volume. That's true. In the toe box. Unusually a large amount of volume in the toe box. Tony says, how's the puppy doing? Puppy's doing good. She's still really not housebroken yet, so she's peeing in her crate a lot, which is weird because otherwise she's a really smart dog. And I'm just like, I thought animals were smart enough to not pee where they sleep, but this one just pees every day, all the time. And so I don't know. But otherwise, she's a very smart dog, maybe too smart for me. I need to like be like interacting with her more than my other dog. My other dog was happy to just stare off into the sunshine. This dog needs a little bit more activity. So we're working on a lot of, tricks. Sit, it's pretty good. Come she will come on command, so that I feel pretty good about that. As long as I have a treat to give her. And then we're working on lay down. I think she's got it, but she's so excited. She's so hyper that when I try to do, get her to shake hands, when I say shake or give me a paw, she just gets so excited and she just ends up like jumping up into my face and tackling me. So it's pretty fun, but we're having a good time. B-Town Runner says, any advice on how to chase the male leaders at Chicago Marathon? For what's where they used to live in the city and work in loops, are pretty familiar with the transit options. I'd say the best thing to do is go on foot. That's what I would do. I mean, some people like to do the bike and get like a divvy bike, but I just don't want to deal with what do you do when you get to somewhere? You know what I mean? I don't want to have to try and find a dock. I don't want to be surprised and be like, oh, guess what? Overnight, they removed all these docks for security reasons, So I just hoof it on foot. So, yeah. Last year, I ended up running a ton. So I went from the loop. You could see him a couple times in the loop. And then I went from there. And I didn't go too far from there. Because they just ran across the loop until I saw them at like the 11 or 12 mile point when they get back to the loop. So that did have plenty of time. But you got to remember there's like men and women. So I guess if you only care about the men, then it's a little bit easier. When you're watching men and women, it becomes tougher because then like you have to be at one spot longer and that gives you less time to get to the next spot. And so I went from like not starting line, but kind of near the starting line. And then like mile 1, 3, 12. And then I saw them in Greektown. And then I ran to the stands. Yeah, at the finish line. So that's how I did it. But I think I gotta call up some people. We're gonna try to split it up a little bit. Oh, Frank says the A6 Chicago Shakeout sign up is up. Oh, that's good. I didn't even know about that. What does it say? I'll tell you guys about it. So if this A6 Chicago Shakeout sign up is up, we're doing it with Fleet Feet. So it's going to be down by like the South Loop Fleet Feet, which is not my favorite location for a run, but I think they have a ton of space there. So I think that's why we're doing it there. And the giveaway this year is going to be a hat. I think hats are easier because you don't have to worry about sizes. And then we're going to have a guest appearance. John Career is going to stop by. He's not going to run with us because obviously he has to run the next day. But John Career and his brother, Wesley Career, should be there. So come and get a selfie. Caldwell Blue says, you probably may need a smaller crate until she's potty trained. If she has room to pee and dry space to lay down, she'll keep peeing in the crate. No, she'll just pee and lay down in it. That's the problem. So we have so we got a bigger cage crate because we were like, I don't know how big this dog's going to be, right? But it has a little divider that you can like move up and back in it. And so we keep moving it up and up because we're like, she has too much space. So yeah. So my sister, for her dog, she has one of those like playpens that are big, for their dog, and their dog seems to like that. I don't think they have like a regular size crate for their dog. I think their dog also sleeps in the bed with one of the kids. But anyway, our dog doesn't do that. And so we had this big crate, and I feel like our kids thought that like more space equals more comfortable for a dog. But I'm like, that's not how dogs think. And basically, anytime we put the dog into the playpen area, she would get mad and spite pee in the crate or the playpen. And so we're like, we got to stop using this because all she does is she gets in there, she gets upset that she can't get out, and then she pees. So, but yeah. But the dog's just full of pee, just pee all the time. Brian Lacken Allow says, yo, what's going on? I'm in Berlin for the marathon. That's awesome, man. I hope you enjoy. How's the weather over there? Is it going to be good for the marathon? Matt LeGrand is here. Matt, what's going on? Matt just reviewed the new Apple Watches. I haven't seen those videos yet, though, Matt. But they're on my list. CV76 says it looks like Berlin's going to be a little bit warm. When Berlin gets warm, it gets a little bit warm by the end for us, and it was hot. So hopefully that's not the case. Paul Public says, favorite Worlds moment? What else did you see besides the marathons? Yeah, I think my favorite Worlds moment was when I was watching the men run. I had a similar kind of experience when I was watching the women run. But as I'm running, I'm cheering on the American men. And Clayton looks back, sees me, and throws up a little peace sign. And that was pretty cool. But I was just like, should you be doing that? I'm not. I appreciate it, but I'm not sure you should do that. I think the other athletes are going to get mad. They think you're not taking it seriously. But anyway, it was a cool moment. And I'd seen CJ and I'd seen Clayton, and like I'd been running with the pack for what felt like kind of a long time. And so I was like, I'm exhausted. And just as I'm starting to slow down, Reed Fisher's like, no, don't slow down, Co. Keep coming, hop on in the race, and let's go. And so I start trying to keep up with Reed for a little bit, but again, at this point, I'm too tired and they're moving too fast. But it was really funny. It was just like a little moment of levity and what felt very serious during the race. I mean, I'm having the time of my life. I mean, I am what I imagine a sheepdog herding like a herd of sheep feels like. I'm just like barking at all these runners and having a great time and exhausted. But that was my favorite Worlds moment on the roads. I would say in the stadium, my favorite Worlds moment. I think Mondo setting a world record. I've seen him vault a couple of times now. I've seen him go after a world record and not get it, and I think that's what happened in Zurich when I saw him there. But to see him get the world record in Tokyo was pretty amazing. That was really cool. Trying to think of all the other stuff that I saw too. The 100-meter finals were incredible to watch. We had really good seats by the finish line, but I decided to move. I don't know why I did that. I should have stayed where our seat was. I think it was the timing because I was also watching pole vault. I think that's what's going on. Or maybe I was watching discus. I'm not sure, but instead I ended up standing like right behind the starting blocks because where I was walking around the stadium, I had a really clear view. So that was good. That was really cool too. Frank says that Berlin is supposed to be warm. 70 degrees. That is warm. That's hot. That's not warm. That's hot for running a marathon. Oh boy. All right. Let's get to some of these packages here. Sorry, I was just reading through some of the comments. I think the first one that I'll get to is one that I actually arrived before I left. But I forgot I had it with me on the last live stream and then I just forgot to open it. This one is from Runway. I've met the guys from Runway a bunch of times. Nice people. And finally they sent me some stuff to try. So let's see what is in the package. I don't know what's in here. Some of these mixer bottles. I feel like this is very much like gym coded. Like runners don't usually use these bottles, but people that go to the gym do, right? So we got, all right, Extra Mile pre-workout supplement. What's in here? It says increase endurance, extend time to exhaustion, enhance performance, and boost energy levels. And it's sour watermelon flavor. What do you think is in here? It's got L-citrulline malate, taurine, beetroot juice powder, theacrine, synactive. These all sound made up. Elevate TP. I don't know. I do feel like taurine and beetroot powder are real though. So I was just reading. Who was it? Someone, the sports science guy, wrote an article for New York Times about like there's only really 5 things that work. Caffeine is one of them. Beetroot powder or nitrates. Mostly you take them in the form of beetroot powder. Beta alanine, bicarb. I forget what the 5th one was. All right, this is salty carbs, carbohydrate plus electrolyte endurance fuel, melon flavored. Is this just all in one packet? This is one. This is a lot of packet, but it has 120 calories, 30 grams of carbs. Yeah, and some electrolytes in here as well. So, all right, we got that. We got a bunch of salted carbs. 3, 4, 5. There's a lot of these. I hope I like this flavor. Okay. And then they sent in complete protein and creatine, recovery supplement. I'm already taking creatine right now. Is this too much creatine to take though? If I take this, it has 5 grams of creatine. I guess that this would just be my creatine for the day because I take 5 grams of creatine. How much creatine am I taking? I'm taking 5. Is it grams or milligram? I don't know. Must be grams. But one of the things that Runway was able to do, and what I was really excited about, is you guys know that I have a peanut allergy in my house. And I asked them to send me an allergen statement. And so they did. It took them a day, but I feel like they probably like went and made sure they had got one from like their manufacturing and that it was correct. And they do have peanuts in the facility, but they use clean practices, making sure they're cleaning after the allergens are used or in between different product runs. And they ensure that they're everyone that works in the facility is aware of good material handling practices. And they said that they own their own facility. And so it's not like other brands' products are made there as well. It's not like a co-packing situation, if I'm remembering that correctly. So they have complete control over how everything's made. So I thought, I would love it if it was a peanut-free facility, but especially with anything dealing with protein and shakes, I feel like peanut butter flavor or peanuts are going to be impossible to avoid for the most part. So I feel pretty comfortable with it. Will I give it to my daughter? I'll have to ask my wife to double check. But yeah. But I'm glad to see that brands are doing that. And I think I'm going to start asking for a peanut or allergen statement from any like supplement brand or runner food brand from now on. Just to make sure that those brands know that there are runners out there with allergies. All right, this is another salty carbs. This is 30 grams of carbohydrates, 700 milligrams of sodium. That is salty. This is unflavored. It sounds gross. They sent a bunch of these. And then this last one that's in here is Foundation Supplement. Sent a couple of flavors, lemon, lime, and wild cherry. It's a daily all-in-one athletic longevity supplement. Collagen peptides, electrolytes, and L-carnitine. Oh, L-carnitine's that one that, what's his name? That Nike coach was super into, although he was like injecting it. Or he wasn't injecting it. He was injecting it into his runners. But if you take it as a drink powder, it just takes like months and months for it to have an effect. If I'm correct on that. I'm a little bit nervous about this one. L-carnitine's really popular in like the lose weight fast sector of the diet industry. So L-carnitine, I'm a little bit concerned about. I'll have to read up on this a little bit more. But it says it's for joint support, hydration, and energy. Yeah. Adam says it was Alex Hutchinson. It was based on a 2018 list from the IOC. Newer fads don't have enough research. Ketones, collagen, and antioxidant cocktails. Yeah, I something about ketones don't pass the smell test for me. Just doesn't feel right. Anyway. Frank literally says Salazar, yeah. Salazar was the one that was all about like how can I inject more L-carnitine into my athletes? Yeah. All right. Frank says ketones don't do anything. That's kind of been my opinion. I feel like the research has been mixed on it though, right? I don't know. LC3 man. Oh, Iceman 619. Sorry. Iceman 619 says, watching the marathon in person, how much were the conditions affecting the athletes? I thought the conditions were really rough. So my 10 miles was jogging 2 miles from the hotel to the start line, and then jogging from the start line to the Imperial Palace, which was 3 miles. Just the 2 miles from the hotel to the start line, I was soaked with sweat. And this would have been like 6:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. The sun rises at 5:20. And then by the 3 miles, by the time I got there, I was drenched. I was disgusting. And I ended up running into like everyone that I knew that was in Tokyo. I saw after just running 3 miles. And so everyone would want to give me everyone wanted to come in for a hug. And I was like, you got to keep distance because I'm wet. I'm soaking wet and it's all sweat. And they're like, yeah, everyone sweats. I'm like, not like this. Not like this. So it was super humid. I was listening to the Citius Mag podcast this morning. It was the preview before the 400s that were run, I guess, this morning now. Anyway, and they were talking about how they finally went on a run in the afternoon, and they were like, oh, this is why all the athletes are running so slow. But yeah, the humidity is crazy for me anyway. So it was like 85 degrees every day, and the dew points were in the high 70s. So it's just really uncomfortable. I don't know what humidity percentage that is, but like it would be just absolutely gross. I did not enjoy running while I was there. It was just so hot, so uncomfortable. Ugh. McCurdy Trains here. Hey, Kopuzi. Will, what's going on? McCurdy, I was thinking that I was going to see you. I ran by the aid stations, and I was thinking that I might see you while you were over there. That's when I saw you last time in Budapest. But congratulations are in order. Your athletes are doing well. Great job. Yeah, McCurdy says, we planned for that humidity. Rising temps and race strategy well with Julia ran almost exactly as we planned. Like, that's, amazing. What's funny is, so Julia ran with the Omius headband, and in my interview with Clayton, he was like, I was thinking about the hats or the Omius headband, and he had been leaning towards the Omius headband, which Julia ran in. And I'm guessing now he regrets it. But those hats were something, a creation. When I saw them, I was like, what is going on with these hats? What's in those hats? I couldn't tell if it was an ice pack, or what. I thought maybe it was maybe they were hiding the Omius in there somehow, or I don't know. I couldn't tell what was in those hats at first, but apparently it's just they had a mold that fit in there, and it was like a block of ice that they had. But I don't know. Either way, I think it was hard. But I feel like that's why Susanna Sullivan did so well. She trains in the Virginia, DC area. So I feel like that's actually pretty similar temperatures and conditions to what we had on race day. And she did well in Budapest, where it was also really hot, not nearly as humid, but temperatures were hotter. And so she did really great there. And so I wasn't surprised to see her thrive in that. I was surprised at Jess McLean's performance, because yes, it's hot where she trains, but it's not humid. And so I was like, it's kind of a different thing, but maybe it's not that different, at least when you're as fit as these athletes are. But for me, it would have made a big difference. But yeah, amazing. What a great race. Iceman said, did you try any Pocari Sweat? If so, your thoughts? I drank so much Pocari Sweat while I was there. And I drank the other, the competitor brand, Aquarius, as well. I drank them all. I just always had a bunch of change in my pocket, so that way anytime I saw a vending machine, I would stop and drink some, because it was just so hot. I ran the course the day before the marathons, and so I ended up running about 12 miles on the day, something like that. The course loops on itself a bunch of times, so I didn't have to run 26 miles to run the entire course. But I I didn't have any gels or water bottles with me, I just stopped a bunch of times to get at the vending machines to drink Pocari Sweat. All right. James says, I was in Sydney, but kept Coach Jack with Julia. All right. That's why I didn't see you there. But Sunny says, Julia crushed it. She sure did. What a great result. It's amazing. Iceman619 says, the Japanese woman that finished top 10 was using the ice hat very efficiently. I'd say the women's marathon day was hotter. That's what people are saying. I think, well, and I think you're probably right. The morning of the men's marathon, the clouds cleared out like right at the starting time. And I was like just dying in the heat because I had camped out. I had picked a spot that I wanted to be able to watch the giant pack come through at like the 2K mark. And it happened to be like 5 feet over from the shade. And part of me was like, maybe I can just move 5 feet. But I was like, that wasn't as good of a spot to watch the race. So I'm just standing there getting blasted by the sun. And I'm like, if it's like this today, this is going to be miserable. But I knew the winds were going to pick up in about an hour. And when they did, that blew in a bunch of clouds. And so they had more wind and cloud cover. But it was still really hot. Both days were really hot. James says, just spent a lot of time in Flagstaff this training block. There's not a lot of humidity there though, right? So I mean Clayton also did well, and he's training in Utah where it's certainly not humid. And so I don't know. I was worried about Clayton. I was worried about Reed because they're training in places that are not humid and are cooler. But they both did well. So really, really cool. Really cool. Amazing to see out there. Yeah, Adam says that Julia never finished inside the top 125 at NCAA cross country. They were talking about that today on Sirius Mag podcast. They were talking about how who else? Oh yeah, Susanna Sullivan had never won a national title or anything like that either. But you have that you're a talented runner. You have that collegiate experience, and you just keep grinding away, and you eventually find your way to the roads where you can really excel for some runners. So that's really, I think that's really cool. And CV76 says, Erica Kemp usually trains in cooler weather. She trained a lot in Providence, where they do get heat and humidity. And so I think, I haven't talked to her. So I haven't gotten the full breakdown on it yet. I haven't seen any of her post-race interviews. I know she's done a couple. But I don't think it was where she trained that was the issue. I don't think, because East Coast gets hot. East Coast gets really humid. So, yeah. Yeah, and I think James is making a good point. Lots of folks are focused on the NCAA results baseline, but the truth is that so many are led astray in college. I agree with that, for sure. Yeah, it's eggs against the wall, who doesn't break types of situations. Exactly. So, for some people, that system isn't going to be optimal for you, and you won't really be able to find your optimal until you're kind of out on your own. Which, that's a problem, because think about what talent we might be missing, so. Paul Bullock says, the person happiest about the heat is ran to Japan. He's like, you see, this is what I've been saying the whole time. I bumped into Jake while I was waiting for the men to come, or for the women to come through on Sunday. And of course he was running. He was running with a friend, and he was like, they were trying to get miles in before the races started. So I ended up seeing them 8 times because he just kept going back and forth because I guess he couldn't do his normal loop or whatever. But yeah, I saw him a bunch of times there, which is funny, which is amazing because it's Tokyo's how big of a city. And now the last 2 times I've been in Tokyo, I have not planned to meet up with Jake, but I've bumped into him each time. Very, just so random. So random. All right. Let's get to the next packages. I got to speed this up because we got I got a lot of stuff to get through here. This next package is from Rabbit. I don't know what they sent. This looks like it's something for fall. This is like a thinner, oh, it's from their trail collection. It's a thinner long sleeve. It's, oh, I think I have this one in Boston, in a Boston colorway, because his elbows are familiar. Back here, there's like this little patch on the elbows. Oh, but this one's different. It's got a little pocket in the back. Down here, a little zipper pocket. Oh, that's nice. I look forward to weather where I can wear this. McCurdy wants to know Berlin Marathon prediction. I'm thinking world record. We were just talking about that a little while ago. The weather looks like it's going to be a little bit warm. So if it's going to be warm, I'm thinking no. But I don't know. I mean, someone said 70 degrees. And if it's 70 degrees, I would say probably not. I don't know, it feels warm for a world record. But world records have been set there. I don't know. Yeah, it says it's going to be warm and sticky. Are you in Berlin right now? Yeah. Yeah, he's saying 70 to 74 by 11. But by 11, what time does Berlin start? It's not like a 6 a.m. start. But if it's by 11, that's hot. I remember that was the temperature of Sydney a couple years ago when Betsy Sena won. And I just remember she looked like that was one of the hottest races. It just, everything looked gross hot. Yeah, 9 a.m. start time. McCurdy's back in Flagstaff, he says. By the way, I think I've told the channel about this, but like I've been watching Jace Intravia's, I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, but I think he's been training with you guys, James. I've been seeing you in a lot of his videos. But I've been loving what he's been doing. It's one of my favorite channels right now. But just gets a real, he does like the POV thing. And the kid's working hard. And so, yeah. Okay. Here's how I say it. Jace Intravea. Jason Intravea. Okay. All right. But yeah, it's cool. He seems to be getting along with everybody. He's always happy to pace people, it seems. So feels like he's a good team player. Good addition to the squad, I hope. And it's been entertaining to watch his progress. I'm rooting for him. I think we're all rooting for him over here. All right. Next package from OS First. I forget what they said they were going to send me. Yeah, McCurdy says, Jason is a wonderful kid. We got a lot of work to do to keep balanced. Yeah. I get the sense that he's the kid that if you leave him alone too much, he's going to overwork himself. But maybe that's just, maybe I'm getting the wrong impression. But he seems very coachable, though. All right. All right. So first we've got a mug. I like this tall mug. This is nice. OS First, if I recall correctly, is a family-owned company. And there's this little bag. I don't know what's in here. It's got, some superfood mushroom blend hot chocolate. Reishi, lion's mane, chaga, and turkey tail. I'm assuming those are all mushrooms. I'm not a big mushroom guy. I don't know what these are. Little feet. I'm guessing these are one of those things that you like plant them and the flowers come up. But there's no like explanation here. Maybe it's in this. I didn't read the note first. That's rude. Dear Mike, thank you for your interest in our new merino wool wicked comfort socks. We hope you enjoy the industry-leading durability and moisture wicking. Please let us know your thoughts and questions. P.S. Enjoy the wildflower seed sheets, mushroom cocoa, and mug. All right, so yeah, seeds. And then the products that they sent are Wicked Comfort merino wool socks, quarter crew, and crew. All right, it's getting temperatures where I want to wear socks like this. It's cooling off soon, I hope. Adam says, will Chicago have more than 2 cameras, the following Sawe running 2 and Mance running 204? Well, it'll be Sawe and John Career's going for it as well. And so that should keep things really interesting. Wait, McCurdy says Sawe's in Berlin. And then Kimplimo Mance in Chicago. See, I'm looking for John Career is one storyline I'm looking at, and then the other is Mance for sure. That's the other storyline that I'm looking at. I have to look a little bit deeper to figure out what storylines I'm interested in on the women's side, but I mean, John Career has been calling his I mean, I don't know how realistic it is. I mean, it's realistic in the sense that he's fast enough to make a claim, but he was calling his shot back after Boston. Like I interviewed him the day after Boston, and he was like, or maybe it was 2 days after Boston. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I'm going to go for the world record in Chicago. So, let's see. Yeah, but I don't know if there's going to be more than two cameras. I have a feeling no. I mean, I hope yes, because of the Mance situation, because it's realistic that he could hit it. I mean, it's likely, as long as the weather lines up. You know what I mean? It should be within his reach. So I would think, three cars, but like, I don't know. They always treat Chicago like it's super windy, like there isn't enough room for all that, but there's room, Yeah. So like, yeah, I hope there is. Clayton Young's going to be on one of the cars. I hope they put him on the car with that's following Mance. You know what I mean? So, that's what I want to see. Like, I feel like it'd be weird if they were like, yeah, let's put him on the women, like, let's not do that. Let's put him on the Mance one. I feel like that's where we'll get the best insights and like, Let's see. And McCurdy says, it's wild to think that Kimplimo was 3 minutes ahead of Mance in a half marathon. That is wild. Half marathons have turned into a sprint. They're so fast now. They're just so fast. It's so wild to me. McCurdy says, you need Kofuzi on a skateboard. No, man, nobody wants that. Everyone would be so mad. Plus, like those one wheels, I feel like people break their collarbones all the time on those things. Like I will not go on that. I'd love to be on the back of a motorcycle that someone else is driving. You know what I mean? That'd be great, but they're never going to let me do that. So I'm just gonna have to run alongside. That's why I always run alongside too, because I know some people like ride a bike and stuff. I don't like that. I feel like people get mad enough at me. So I'm just stay on foot. All right. We got some more packages here. These should be fast. I ordered this myself, some replacement wristbands for my watch that broke on the starting line at City Marathon. It was this plastic part that broke, so it couldn't stay on. And so I bought the same ones again. They failed me before. Will they fail me again? At some point eventually. I just got to be more proactive about like switching it out, All right. This I think is pretty boring. I think this is just like, I think I ordered a something for this actually might be for my daughter. Oh, just another memory card. This came late. I could have used this while I was in Tokyo, but I bought a new 360 camera. I brought the DJI 360 camera. I really like it a lot. And I need another memory card, but I just cannibalized one from a different camera I wasn't bringing, so it's fine. Yeah, all right. All right, now to the shoes. All right, this one, I feel like you guys have probably already seen this one already a bunch of times. And I was actually kind of getting annoyed that they didn't send me one too. Not that I care all that much, but this is a brand that I feel like a lot of people weren't talking about it, but I feel like they made good shoes. And I was like, maybe it's not going to be the most popular with everyone, but the product speaks for itself. And so I was like, and then when they didn't send me one and they sent everyone else these fun packages, I was like, how come I didn't get one? But here's mine. It just took a while to get to me. It's from Tyr. I think it's something like, it does something special when you open it. So, you know, there are companies, so like Tyr didn't make these boxes, you know, there are companies that specialize in PR packages. And so like, whoever made this one, I like it a lot. It's like a secret message in here. Introducing Flight Time and the Maverick. Oh, I see what they did there. All right. Ability to stay in the air longer per stride so you can run faster, use less energy, and save your joints. So they engineered the Maverick, a daily trainer to help you increase your flight time by 4%, which is 40 less strides every mile. Okay. The mission, should I choose to accept it? Look at this, confidential. It's actually not confidential. It's just a spec sheet, but it's a pretty spec. I like what they did here. It's fun. So there's lots of information that I'll have to read at some point. Look, there's formulas in here. All right. Yeah. Meet Maverick, our new daily trainer, officially launching September 10th. So I'm not breaking any embargoes. But you're getting early access for a little field testing. Tease on social if you want. Please just keep it under wraps till launch. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Tyr. Okay. Field directive. Read the dossier, weigh the shoe, run 1 mile. Your role, complete the protocol, share your findings. Experiment is only proven through you. Okay. Here's the shoe. Oh, and they did, you know, they put a scale in here. Should I switch to this scale? I guess I could weigh it on their scale and my scale. But this scale is a little bit easier to use, I think, than mine. Maybe I'll switch. But I also feel like I need to keep using my scale because I've used my scale for all of them. All right. All right, let's take a look at this, though, first. It kind of reminds me of the endorphin shift. But this is very, very light. And the foam is very soft. Feels like it's super critical. Smells like plastic. It's a pretty strong smell. It's not like a Saucony shoe smell, but it's strong. A little bit of padding on this tongue. Not that much padding through the heel cup, but it does have some structure to it. And then I love this color of rubber. It's a very soft rubber, though. Oh, very soft. All right. Let's get it on here. Daniel Byrne says, it looks like a dress shoe. And Patrick says, it'd be scandalous if their scale shows a lower weight. That's what I was thinking, too. I was like, maybe I shouldn't weigh this on camera. Maybe I should on the other scale. But let me pull up my shoe weights here. Take a look. All right. I forgot to guess. But if you guys want to guess what the shoe weighs, we could do that while I am getting the sheet ready. All right, I'm going to share this screen. Okay, and then there we go. Okay. We've got the Tyr Maverick. Is that right? Okay. 9, and then it's a road shoe. All right, let's see what guesses you guys have. Adam says 9.6. Eric says 7.9. Dane says 8. Vanessa says 8.6. Johnny's coming in with grams. All right. 225. All right, let's see. I'll make this bigger. Okay. Is that big enough? Can you read that? Okay. Let me double check the weight. Pretty light. All right. We're coming in at 216 grams and 7.6 ounces. So that is a pretty light shoe. And by the way, the next shoes, I don't know if I can show you yet. They might be under embargo. But yeah, Stevie76 says, now we got to do the conversion of 200 grams to stones. Yeah. D0 Aperture says 4 mice. That's funny because not for the Takumi Sen 11, but for the Takumi Sen 10. I think they were really concerned about the fact that it gained weight over Takumi Sen 9. And they were like, you know, it's 4 grapes. That was like the way of like massaging the fact that it got heavier. They were like, it's just 4 grapes heavier. I'm like, what kind of grapes? Some grapes are big. The ones that my kids get, they're the cotton candy grapes. Those are giant. They're really big. They're like, they're so big that I'm like, is there something wrong with these grapes? All right, let's see what's in this other box, and I'll see if I can show them to you. I'm still thinking in my head of how to say Jace Intrevea's name. It's like Jace Intrevea. I'm just like thinking about how the way McCurdy spelled it. Jace Intrevea. All right. Now I did want to go to the Puma house while I was out there because they had all those weird shoes. Did you guys see all those weird Puma shoes? And I had talked to the people about going over, but sometimes like those houses, like at least what I saw in the Olympics is that like it's not like a pop-up where I could just walk into a store. A lot of times, like, they have to put your name in, and there's, like, secure... Because, like, those houses are a place where, like, athletes and athlete families might go and hang out. Sometimes there's, like, massages and stuff. And for people whose countries don't have the big federation or a big delegation in there, that's, like, their kind of home base if their hotel isn't, like, very close to the stadium and stuff. So there's security and stuff at those. So I was trying to figure out a time to go, and it just never ended up working out. Same with the On house, so I didn't get to see it there. But, all right. Okay, I can show you this. It's just a new color. All right. This is the Fast R3 in the new colorway Heat Fire Sunstream. Boy. I don't know why, but when I looked at it, I was like, did they make another Fast R already? But no, it's just another Fast R3. But this color is really bright. I don't know if I like this one more than the white. But yeah, this is good. This is really nice. Should we weigh this one too? Do we need to weigh this one? Just to see if there's any variation between colors and or models. Let's weigh this one. What's it called again? Heat Fire Sun Stream. Heat Fire Sun Stream. All right, Daniel Burton thinks it's gonna be 5.8. I think that's pretty close. You see the power point real nice on this one. Here's the one that I've been running in. It just, when I looked at it, it looked like the 4-foot was so much bigger. Does it look bigger to you? I guess this looks bigger. Looks like there's more foam in here. It's the same shoe. All right, let's get it on the scale. We got Puma, Fast, R3. What was it? Fire, Sun, Stream? Heat, Fire, Sun, Stream? Was it Heat? Yeah. Heat. All right, any more guesses? Yeah, Daniel Burton says it looks bigger, and AJ says some colors are heavier than others. That's true. Johnny says orange weighs less than blue. Yeah. And Adam says Andy had an issue with his Fast R3. I thought he really liked it. I watched some of that video. I mean, his is chewed up because I have a feeling like I get the sense that most even road races in the UK are not always all on paved road. And so I think that might be it. But yeah, his are chewed up, but he's been liking it, I think. All right. So it's really so light. Oh, interesting. All right. It actually came in at 172 grams and 6.1 ounces. Yeah. 172 grams sounds so much lighter to me than 6.1 ounces does. But let's sort this data. I want it by column C. All right, and so we've got here. All right, we got Fast R3, all three of them. The green and blue is the lightest one. The one that I just showed you is 6.1 ounces at 174 grams. 6.1 ounces, 174 grams. Fast R3 Heat Fire Sunstream is 172 grams. So there's 2 grams difference per color. Interesting. I wonder if that's just normal tolerances. All right, he wants me to sort by grams. Adam. Good suggestion. Okay. Yeah, so now the Heat Fire Sunstream's in the middle. Okay. There it is. Carla, I think there's a nachos Doritos colorway. I like that. That's pretty accurate. All right. Oh yeah, I am almost out of storage. Yeah. I'm always almost out of storage all the time. You know what it is when people use Google Drive and share stuff with you, it counts towards your like storage quota. It's super annoying. I don't think it should, but it does anyway. Johnny says that glue is quite often the variance. Yeah, it could be. That makes sense. That makes sense. You know, here's the thing. The more that I'm thinking about it, let's go back to this. The more I wish they would have left this exposed carbon. I don't like this little rubber cover over the carbon here. I liked it before when you could see it out the front. I don't know why. That's just a little thing that I was thinking about the other day. But yeah. This one is really nice. All right. DZ Rapper says, I found that Google started saving photos from my text messages in my Google Drive's phone backup, and that tanked my storage. Yeah. That'll add up real fast. All right, guys. That's all the things I have to show you for today. Yeah, I'm working on the Tokyo video now. So I'll go into more detail on everything that I experienced and saw and ate while there. But the main thing, I think I just complain about how hot it is the whole time. That's pretty much it. I will see you guys again on Monday for another live stream. So in the meantime, over the weekend, when you're doing your long runs, be safe out there. Everyone that's racing Berlin, good luck to you guys. I'm crossing my fingers for some cooler weather for you than what the forecast calls for. So hopefully you'll have really nice weather. Enjoy the course. It's a good one. All right, guys. See you next time. Bye.